this, then you hold it for 4 counts. It's done in Jab We Met.
इस लड़की ने तुम्हें डिच किया है ना?
Hi, if you are going through some anxiety right now, skip this intro and fast forward to all the anxiety hacks mentioned using the timestamps below. By simply being born on this earth, mind I say, this capitalistic society, we have all signed up for various kinds of stress, anxieties, taunts from our relatives, judgments. It just is what it is. While this video is not going to magically erase your anxiety from the face of this earth, it is going to give you some tools to help deal with it. Trust me, it will. There's usually some sort of underlying cause for your anxiety that needs to be addressed in order for your anxiety to totally be subsided over the long term. For example, you might have anxiety that you may never find a life partner, you might never find the one, you might have anxiety that you may never land that dream job, you may have anxiety that your acne will never go away. There are so many things that we have anxiety about, and the only true way to get rid of that anxiety is to actually solve the problem. For example, there are a couple of ways to solve the life partner problem. You might need to actually sit down with yourself and be like, why do I have such low self-esteem that I think that I will never be able to find a good enough life partner? Why do I feel that I need a life partner to feel happy? Address those situations. Or another way of dealing with the problem is to actually prove your anxiety wrong. So go and sign up on Charlie.com, go sign up on Tinder, go sign up on Bumble and prove your anxiety wrong by putting yourself out there. I think psychologists have termed this way of dealing with things exposure therapy. But yeah, in order to solve our anxieties, we need to actually address our anxieties instead of suppressing them. Sometimes it can take years to deal with the problem that is handed to us, especially if the problem is a 5'10" boy who relies on protein powder and his mom to fuel his male ego. But does that mean that we're going to suffer for all of those years that we are attempting to solve the problem? Nuh-uh, no. Instead, we're going to find a way to reduce the symptom of our anxiety so that we can improve our day-to-day life. Now, before I get into the hacks for the anxieties, I would like to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. You should probably not rely on only this video. This is something that you should always keep in mind whenever you take advice from the internet. But I would also like to add, I am a long-term patient. Like, I've been dealing with anxiety and depression for the past 6 to 7 years, and I have, because of these hacks, progressed from somebody who used to take SOS pills on the daily. SOS pills is something that patients take जब उनको instantly relief चाहिए होता है from that panic or anxiety episode that they're going through. From taking those pills every single day to now not even feeling the need to have them in my house, I have progressed. So definitely I think that I can add some sort of value in your life, even though I'm not a psychologist. Just putting that disclaimer out there because I don't want to be sued in the near future. Hack number 1, when you cannot breeze past your anxiety attacks, you've got to freeze your anxiety attacks. The number 1 hack is that you should apply ice to your forehead, your chest, or just wherever you feel it is providing you some sort of relief. जब आप ये करोगे तब आपको पता चलेगा that it actually helps, especially when you're going through like an anxiety episode जिसमें you're not able to break free. Obviously आप वैसे भी करोगे तो गर्मी इतनी है कि आपको relief मिलेगा. I especially discovered this when I used to have a lot of anxiety, and मतलब मैं पानी पी रही होती थी and then put the bottle of cold water on my head, and I realized that was super relieving. And then I looked it up on the internet, and yes, it does help because it triggers the vagus nerve. The best thing about this technique is you can help other people as well, because I remember my dad going through an extreme case of anxiety, and I went up to him and I just put some ice on his forehead. It provided him a lot of relief. And if you are ever in a situation where somebody in your near vicinity is going through an anxiety or a panic episode, get yourself some freezing cold water or a bag of corn or frozen frozen peas, anything works. It generally gets you out of that state, gives you instant relief. It does work for me. When I was researching for this video, I found out that the reason why this hack works is because putting ice on your forehead triggers the vagus nerve, which runs down from our brain all the way to our abdomen, and it gives basic signals like breathing, digestion, regulating our heart rate, and so on. So it forces our body to enter the rest and digest mode. Just for basics, we have one rest and digest mode, and we also have one fight and flight mode. So when we're experiencing severe anxiety, we're in the flight and fight mode, and our aim in life should always be to be in the rest and digest mode. Now, we can't even consume food in our fight and flight mode. It's just so difficult for our body to digest food. So that's why if you've ever been in a constant state of anxiety, you know how your digestion system also gets pretty fucked up. And so you should apply ice in all the areas that your vagus nerve is present for at least 15 minutes to see the best results. Okay, so the next hack I want to talk about is a breathing hack. Now, a lot of people swear by meditation and diaphragm breathing to get rid of anxiety, but personally, I don't believe in it. I just feel like it's so difficult for my brain to focus when it's in a state of anxiety. Like, my brain just wants to give up on everything and it's just thinking of all the negative possible scenarios, and for me to sit still and focus on my breath during that time, not possible. Don't take me wrong, I think that meditation and breathing are so good, but not in the exact moment that you're going through an anxiety episode. I think that meditation is so beautiful that it can actually make you stronger internally. Like, if you meditate for even 5 to 10 minutes every single day and you do it consistently, the strength that you will experience is actually going to not just make you a lot more calmer, but also your anxiety episodes and panic episodes that you actually face in the first place are going to get reduced in the long term. So I kind of think of meditation as like a long-term hack, and I've made an entire video on how meditation has helped me, and you can watch it after you're done watching this one. Okay, so now this technique that I'm going to share with you is a literal game changer. Bless the woman on Pinterest who shared this with all of our audience. If I could, I would go and thank her, but I have completely no idea who she was. I don't even remember her username or even her face for that matter. But as a typical Gen Z who has grown up with technology and has never memorized a single number in her life except my mom's phone number, the second number that I've memorized is this breathing technique. It's the 4662 method. I'll demonstrate how to do it, okay? मैं तो बात कर रही हूँ, so I won't be able to actually do the technique, but I'll still demonstrate it. Okay, so you breathe in for 4 counts. Then you hold it for 4 counts. And then you release for 6 counts. Now, the trick to make it to the 6 counts is that you don't just exhale all at once. You actually pace yourself and you sigh dheere 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 karke. You release your breath so that it actually gets to 6 counts, and then you don't breathe at all for 2 counts, and then you repeat the entire process, which is breathe in again for 4 counts and then keep going. I highly suggest that you try this technique for at least 2 minutes, and you'll see a significant drop in your anxiety. For me, this works like sirf 2 बारी में. Like, I go 4662 and 4662 and significant drop in my anxiety. So the third hack is actually journaling. Now, I know a lot of people say that you derive benefits from it after you do it for a very long time, but I actually think it's great for short term as well, because अगर आपने उसे short term में utilize करना सीख लिया, that's actually going to motivate you to actually pursue journaling in the long run. Because it's really difficult to be consistent in anything in life, right? So being consistent in journaling also needs to come with some sort of motivation, which I think will be great if you're having an anxiety episode and you sit down to journal. Number one technique for this is the pros and cons list. Whenever one of my friends asks me for any sort of advice, I do not give them any advice. I actually ask them, why don't you figure out yourself, and why don't you make a pros and cons list? And 120% of the time they'll just make like a mental pros and cons list, and I'm just like, bitch, if your brain was so smart, do you think you would be coming to me for advice? Second, you would have anxiety in the first place. Like, bitches would have 10 reasons to break up with a guy, but stay with him just for like the fact that he's 6 feet tall. And like, those bitches think that their brain is working. But jokes aside, when you're organizing a pros and cons list in your head, your brain organizes the pros and cons list based on your feelings, like whatever you're feeling at that time, whatever you're obsessing over at that time. But when you actually write it down using a pen and a paper, you can visually see, and your brain then organizes that information based on logic. And trust me, feelings always change, but logic remains the same. I cannot tell you how much this pros and cons list has helped me. I decided to make my YouTube channel because of this pros and cons list. I decided to cut out so many friends from my life because of this pros and cons list, because I was like, okay, what are they giving me and what are they taking from me? In fact, so many of the impulsive decisions that I've taken in my life that I regret could have been avoided with a pros and cons list. So pros and cons list all the way, man. So the second journaling technique I'm going to talk about is the purge and burn technique. Not only have I actually done this as a result of a therapist telling me to do it, but I've studied about this because I'm currently studying psychology. Basically what you do is you vent out literally all of your negative feelings on a paper, and then you proceed to burn it. I did this way back in 2022 because 2021 was a really difficult year for me. I had a very toxic job environment. I lost a family member. I felt really betrayed by my friends. My dad was really unwell. My ex also decided to leave me. So like, it was bad, and I just could not process all of those things happening, and I would always feel like a victim. If you talk to me during that time, you would literally think that मैं चलती फिरती victim हूँ, because I always felt so stuck in the past. At the beginning of 2022, I did this purge and burn technique because a therapist told me to do it, and though I did not continue with her specifically, this technique actually helped me a lot. You might have seen it. It was done in Jab We Met.
देखो इस फोटो को, इस लड़की ने तुम्हें डिच किया है ना, पकड़ो, जला दो इसे.
उस टाइम पे तो I just like tore the piece of paper and then I just threw it away. You can do that. Personally, I don't like to play with fire. You can also write all of the things that are bothering you. Write it with a pencil and then go in with an eraser and then erase all of that. I told one of my friends to do this, and at that time I wasn't even studying psychology, and it genuinely helped her. So this technique is good for anybody who's trying to get over a specific trauma. They're stuck in some sort of past, or they're stuck on some sort of negative feeling. You just need to get it out of your system and then you burn it. Kind of makes it go away. It helped me release that my identity is not attached to all the things that have happened to me. I've learned all the lessons that I need to learn. Now it's time to let that go, then move on. That's that technique for you. So the next journaling technique is talk to yourself as if you're talking to a friend. Now there's many ways that people like to do this. I've heard influencers talk to themselves in the mirror, but I like to use journaling. What you do is view yourself from an outside perspective. You know how they say that you don't talk to yourself the way that you would talk to your best friend? That's the entire point. What you do is you take a step out of your own shoes and you analyze the situation from outside, and you talk to yourself as if you're talking to a best friend. Take for instance a black pen and you write down the problem that you are facing, and then you're going to take a blue pen. That's just how I do it, and then you're going to console the person that is talking using the black pen. So I'll give you a more precise example from my own journal entry. In the black pen, the person that has the anxiety, I wrote, I feel so old. I feel like no matter how much I try, I am unable to remain disciplined when it comes to going to the gym. And then using the blue pen, you can console yourself, and this is what the blue person wrote. Of course, ye matlab main hi hu who's writing this. I said, I understand that you may not be disciplined in the eyes of the society who manages to go to the gym every single day. Nonetheless, you cannot just strip yourself from the credit you deserve for trying. You have been trying to go to the gym consistently for years now, and if you fail, you never ever give up. And then the person with the black pen replies, which is my own anxiety. She says, that's true, I make it to the gym only 2 to 3 times a week, but I never quit just because I feel like I'm not making progress. And then you just keep going back and forth until you have consoled all of the feelings and all of the anxieties and worries that you are going through. Overall, this should relieve you of some anxiety because you're basically consoling yourself. And honestly, this is how you're supposed to be talking to yourself anyways. A lot of us don't have this positive inner dialogue. We're not also aware that we don't have it. Back in 2021, when I started more intensive therapy, I made the effort to enhance my self-talk, the way that I talk with myself. So instead of being like, OMG Diksha, you're so dumb, tese ye nahi hoga, whenever I'm trying to do something difficult, from that you have to go to, yes Diksha, you can do it, you're gonna do this. Suppose that you're in the gym doing a set and you're just like 10 more or like 9 more or whatever. So basically that is how you're supposed to be talking to yourself, not the way that a lot of us are talking to ourselves. I know we do it unconsciously, but we need to keep our brain in check and not talk to ourselves that way, because we have to live with ourselves our entire life. So please be nice to yourself and be your own best friend. This is probably the best tip that I can give you in this video. While most of the youth is tapping this, and no, I'm not talking about money, those who get it get it, but the rest of the youth, which is you and me, we're going to be tapping this, this and this. I'll explain. So it's called the Emotional Freedom Technique, and I'm just going to use my laptop to explain what it really is in the best way possible. These points correspond to the endpoints of energy channels or meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. Meridians are believed to be pathways through which the body's vital energy or qi flows. According to TCM theory, disruptions or imbalances in the flow of qi along these meridians can lead to various physical and emotional problems. By tapping on these meridian points, EFT aims to restore the balance of energy flow and alleviate symptoms. Before I introduce to you all of the different meridian points, I just want to point out how the EFT tapping is supposed to take place. My sister taught me this technique. First, you rate your anxieties on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really bad and 1 being you're good. So suppose I'm feeling really bad, so I rate my anxiety an 8 out of 10. Then I start this technique. What you do is that you couple the tapping with a bunch of positive affirmations. For example, I can say, I am good, I am safe, and I deserve all good things in life. So that can be my affirmation. It's also an affirmation that is applicable in a lot of situations. I just tap along all of the meridian points, and I'm just going to look at my computer because what time ho gaya hai since I did this technique and I don't want to miss any of the meridian points. The first point is here, which is the karate chop point right beneath your pinky finger. Then one is on the crown of your head, like right in the center. Then there is one at the beginning of the eyebrow. Then just above the cheekbone over here at the side of the eye. One point here below the eye, right underneath the pupil. Then there's one under the nose, right where your cupid's bow is. One on the chin. One on the collarbone, just where it meets the breastbone. Then there is one under the arm, approximately 4 inches below your armpit. That's all the different meridian points that you're supposed to tap. Now let's couple this with an affirmation. I am good, I am safe, I deserve all good things in life. I am good, I am safe, I deserve all good things in life. You can change the affirmation totally according to your situation. Once you're done with it once, you rate yourself on that scale from 1 to 10. Usually you've moved up at least 1. So if I was feeling a 9 or 8, then I might be feeling a 6 or 5, and you're going to continue doing that till you're on the lower end of the scale, which is like a 0 or a 1. That's basically how you do the EFT tapping technique. It's a great one to have up your sleeve, and I've used it a lot in my life as well, but I've used it like many years ago. Also, I've heard that a lot of people who do manifestation and who use affirmations in general, they use this technique a lot. They believe that you can subconsciously reprogram your brain. It's definitely backed by Chinese medicine. So Chinese medicine is basically what Ayurveda is for us Indians. The second last thing that I'm going to talk about is movement, exercise, and somatic shaking. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you gyan on how you should go to the gym, exercise, and do all of that stuff, because I understand that as somebody with anxiety or anything, even if you don't have it, it's just such a struggle. Take out the time in your day to go and exercise, but please strive to do it. There's a lot of times when we're not doing that great. उस time के लिए obviously gym is super overstimulating. I can get completely thrown off by somebody dropping their barbells or their dumbbells. It's really overstimulating for me to go to the gym if I'm like super anxious. What you can do other than that, you can do some sort of cardio workouts. There are so many good YouTube channels that do like dance workouts, happy dance workouts. I'm going to link my favorite ones below. I do Pamela's happy dance workout. She has a couple of ones for Christmas as well, for when you're like in the mood, and all you have to do is put it on your laptop or your TV screen and then dance to it, and it makes you feel better. And the second one, her name is Yoga with Adrian, I think her username is. She does amazing yoga, and the thing I like about her yoga is that she's very gentle when she talks, and she really talks about flow and energy, and she doesn't focus so much on the exercise part of it. I personally do my yoga in a physical class, but there's been many times that I've done it at home as well. Chance ki baat hai that I found a good class near my home, otherwise I was struggling to find one. Try to get some sort of movement in when you are going through a depressive or anxious phase. However, I do understand that it's super difficult, which is why I want to talk about something else, which is called somatic shaking. I'm not an expert on this, but it has helped me on days when I felt there's so much anxiety inside of me and my chest area pura aise tense hota tha. What I do is I basically shake everything off. I just shake myself like this. It's really weird, but it works. वो जो energy होती है ना, center, that nervous energy, that anxious energy, it gets moved out of your system, and it's way easier to do than going to the gym. जब आप बहुत ही बुरी हालत में होते हो, तो even finding a workout to even get out of the bed is difficult. वो सब जब नहीं हो पाता है, then this is what you should do. Like shake it off, and then slowly when you feel better, you can do all of the more slightly difficult wale workouts. So the second last hack was movement for you. And the last anxiety hack I want to talk about is chamomile tea. Okay, a blissful medicative ingredient. Winters में I have like 1 or 2 glasses minimum में every single day, especially because anxiety and depressive symptoms are heightened during the winters because of SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder. I've talked about it several times in my videos. Chamomile tea is essential for me, at least in the winters. However, in the summer it gets very hard to drink that because वो बहुत गर्म होती है, and I'm not sure if you can have like an iced version of it. But yes, chamomile tea is as good as an SOS pill, which is the small instant pill that anxiety patients are prescribed to instantly give relief to their anxiety symptoms. That pill or chamomile tea ka ek glass, pretty freaking equal. So yeah, those are all of my tips, and let me know अगर chamomile tea से similar कोई herbal tea या फिर कोई herbal नुस्खा you have. Please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to try. And also, a lot of people might not have anxiety as a problem कोई प्रॉब्लम से एंग्जाइटी नहीं हो रही है उन्हें. कुछ लोगों का पर्सनालिटी टाइप ही एंक्शियस होता है, विच आई रिलेट टू बिकॉज मेरा भी ऐसा ही है. So I'm just a very worrisome personality in general. I take up stress as if it's my job. I'm working on it as the years go on. Now that my prefrontal cortex is also developed, I am getting better at it. But yeah, so that was Diksha Suri, somebody who shares her experience of adulting with everybody on the internet. साडी वीडियो पसंद आई तो लाइक तो कमेंट जरूर करना, और साडी नवी वीडियो लाइक सब्सक्राइब टू Suri Not Sorry.